whole lot. So he wants to ensure that people will be able to swim, ensuring that, yes, every Nigerian will get the opportunity to swim. Emeka Nnamdi, good evening.
Good evening, madam. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you loud and clear.
That's good.
All right, let's talk about this project. I mean, Swim in One Day. I mean, it's a project that you've embarked on to ensure that, yes, every Nigerian, or rather every African or every black person have opportunity to swim. Tell us more about this project and what you've been doing so far to carry out this particular initiative of allowing every Nigerian or every black person ability to swim.
Okay, so basically, I am the swim guru. I prefer to be called the swim guru. And I started the Swimming One Day project last May 2022 because I am a swimming enthusiast and an endurance swimmer. And I have had a lot of experience learning about swimming injustices in the world, and I wanted to do something about it. But apart from that, I felt always a calling to do what I'm doing today because I feel that I have a strong burden to be like the herald of climate change and preparedness for the consequences of climate change, which is usually the disasters that accompanies it when it happens. I want to be able to get people prepared for that. So basically, that's what the Swimming One Day project is all about. Okay. So I started the Swimming One Day project because we need to be able to do something, especially in developing countries, that carries people along. We need to be able to get people ready because I don't know if you know about the statistics. The World Health Organization has the statistics that tells us that 90% of drowning cases in the world happens in Africa and developing countries. So I thought, because of this burden I've had, why not do something for my own people? So I had moved here last year and started this organization so that we will be able to teach people as fast as possible because of my unique gifts. So apart from being an endurance swimmer that swims 5 hours max at the sea, I am able to teach people to swim in one day, but that doesn't mean you become a professional immediately. You need several repetitions for it to be registered in your memory.
Okay.
And then after all of that, you're able to say, I am really a swimmer right now. Okay. Because if you learn just to swim in one day and you don't repeat it, then your brain will forget it. So there is a possibility that you could learn to swim in one day, okay, but there has to be several repetitions because it's just the same as driving and the same as cycling. When you learn it and you don't do enough repetitions, then you're going to forget what you've learned. But yes, I am one of the few people in the world that can consistently teach you to swim in one day, no matter what phobia you've got. So it doesn't matter if you've been to 50 people that try to teach you how to swim and you were scared. What matters is that you get to me and we are able to do that Niger Guru magic, as I call it. So our mission is first to teach everybody as fast as possible.
Okay.
And then to make everybody understand the importance of why doing it now more than ever. And that's because climate change is real. And if we do not do something, we would be left behind. And we could have major disasters that could actually wipe out all of us. So it's better to be safe than sorry, which is our motto. So we're trying to get people not just educated about what swimming is all about and the importance, but about also climate change and importance and what role we have to play to be able to do something to either make the consequences less or make it more.
Okay. I read, through most of the things you've done, and one thing that actually piqued my mind happens to be you having the ability to actually teach the visually impaired athletes or persons how to swim. I mean, maybe
Yes.
for them to have the opportunity of competing at the Paralympics. What's the possibility of this? Because, when you have people who, blind people, I mean, visually impaired, born like that, or maybe somehow during their lifetimes it happened, how do you intend to achieve this?
Okay, so this is a very exciting one for us because for the first time, we are appealing to Nigerians with visually impaired kids to send them in to get real preparation for the Olympics. So we're going to have a shot at going to the Olympics with visually impaired candidates for the first time because we do not have a Paralympic team for the blind. I could teach the blind or the visually impaired because in Nigeria, we kind of prefer to say blind, I learned. So I prefer to say blind because that way my Nigerian audience will completely understand me. So I could teach them how to swim, but I didn't know how to build a Paralympic team. So in November last year, I had to go back to Barcelona to pick up the rest of my stuff, and I joined the team out there, and they really taught me how to build a Paralympic team. It was a 3 times gold Paralympic medalist that taught me, and I was very grateful for that because he taught me for free, because he was so impressed with the work we were doing with disabled people in Nigeria. So now for the first time, there's a long shot at having people that thought they would never have these opportunities before. And we are going to build that team and we are going to be able to compete. But actually, we're trying to do 3 things and we're trying to catch them young. So we're partnering up with schools for the blind and for autistic children and for amputees and mobility impaired little pupils. So hopefully we're trying to build these 3 teams, and hopefully parents could send in their kids. We do not want to hide them anymore because the 3rd mission of the Swimming One Day project is that when I got here and we had those 2 missions I mentioned earlier, we realized that when I took out these kids to the swimming pool, I even got discriminated against. So the ignorance is a lot. So we added as our 3rd mission in the Swimming One Day project, disability awareness and inclusion, where we're trying to say to parents, do not hide your disabled kids anymore. They could be gold medalists. They could be great in future. So please get them out. We have someone, and we're building a team of swimming coaches that will be able to do that for the first time in the history of Nigeria.
That sounds good, Swim Guru. That sounds so good. And thank you so much for championing inclusion and diversity in your programs. I know Africans can swim. Black people also swim. But the white folks, they've dominated swimming. Now I'm trying to take a look at some of the challenges why the black folks aren't dominating, particularly in international competitions. Is coaching one of the major problems?
Okay, if you had listened to what I said, I started swimming at 9, and I was always the black kid that swims. And I was the weirdest kid because I would be amongst all these white people swimming all the time. And the reason is not because of coaching. The reason is that right from slavery, black people could swim before slavery. Okay, so if you follow the history, I mentioned something that is called swimming injustices. And people involved in swimming know about these injustices. And because I've been involved in swimming all my life, I know about these injustices. So we need to understand that black people had riverine people and they lived by the sea and they could swim, but slavery changed a lot of that. And when slavery changed a lot of that and colonization and all of that, people kind of were put behind and were not allowed to learn to swim because they didn't want the slaves to go. And then they came up with all the stereotypes that black bones cannot float in water and black can't swim and all of that. But apart from that, our own ancestors, our parents also came up with stories because they didn't want their kids to go close to the water because then the slave the slave masters would capture them and they would lose their kids. So on our part, we came up with the Mami Water stories and the superstitious things. And this is actually the reason why you'll find out that all over the world, a lot of cultures and races can swim, and we are pulling behind because it is still a thing. And there's still a lot of superstition. And that is why our mission in the Swimming One Day Project is not just for us to teach people how to swim. It's the first of its kind organization in the world that embodies three major things. We have three dimensions in the Swimming One Day organization, which is first that it's charity. So we try to bring it for free to the poor and to the less privileged and disabled. But apart from that, it's a movement of like-minded people working hard to achieve an objective that could be very interesting, which is that we have a big objective that in 10 years, we really want to cover all of Africa. And the third will be that it is a campaign. So it's got three dimensions. And the reason why the campaign is so much is that there is so much misinformation about swimming. There is so much superstitious belief about swimming. And we really need to partner up with, hopefully, your chairman is going to approve, and we're going to become partners with AI channels. And we want to partner up with every media house because we want to have the greatest campaign ever. Because if Africa lags behind, we could all be in serious trouble.
I totally agree. Particularly Nigeria can lead, in the development of swimming in Africa. You're doing a great job. Let me just land with this before we conclude this conversation. Are you working with the Nigerian Swimming Federation? Because it's important to also get their support.
We're talking, but if you know Nigeria, everything takes time, so we're still on it. So I'm talking with a technical person that we're supposed to be collaborating with. And there's the lady in charge of the Paralympics. And she definitely is going to be giving us all the grading and all the necessary support that we're supposed to have. But she's been sick for a while. But yes, everything is in motion. And we're trying to partner up with everybody. Because for us to be able to achieve our mission, we need to partner up with everybody. Because I am new in Nigeria, more or less. I do not know how a lot of things work, and I need everybody's support. And that's why we have the movement. So we're trying to reach out to everybody, especially if you've had a drowning incident in your family. Do you understand that right now it's more important than ever for you to become part of this movement? And let's put an end to the Black drowning in the world, because not only does it happen in Africa and in underdeveloped countries. When you go to Europe, when you go to London, for instance, and you go to America, you'll find out that the statistics for Black people dying is always way higher than any other race. So we have people that are doing a lot in those parts, but this is the first swimming charity movement and campaign of its kind in Africa.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
And we hope that everybody could tune in and join us this great fight.
We're already doing this with you. I think what you're doing is laudable. Channels Television will support what you're doing. Stay focused. We'll continue to monitor your works, and we'll have time to bring you back on the program. Thank you so much, Emeka, for your time on the show tonight. Thank you.
All right. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
So that's it. Swim Guru speaking to us on not just swimming as